Aloha, friends. It's winter and the weather is getting colder. And one of the things that we are talking about is snow, ice, and all things cold. So this week, our weekly reader is called Slip Sliding on Ice. And look at the duck in the picture. Let's watch a quick video to learn a little bit more about ice.
When water freezes. Ah, water, how refreshing. You can pour it, drink it, swim in it, or even run through it. That's because water is a liquid, and liquids flow and change shape. But when water freezes, brrr, it turns to ice. Ice is a solid. A solid is hard and keeps its shape. In nature, we usually see ice in winter, when the air temperature drops to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Water freezes into ice. The water in this lake is frozen. If the temperature stays below 32 degrees for many weeks, a thick layer of ice can form. But when the air isn't cold for that long, only a thin layer of ice might freeze on top. The water below the ice stays liquid. This can be very dangerous. These are icicles. They form bit by bit, drip by drip. As water drips off a roof or a tree branch, some drips fall to the ground. But some drips freeze. The drips start freezing on top of each other, and the icicle gets bigger and bigger. How did this tree get covered in ice? It happened during a rainstorm when it was very, very cold outside. Rain fell from the clouds as a liquid. But when the rain landed on the tree, it turned to ice. The tree was so cold that it made the water freeze. We call this freezing rain. If the weather forecast calls for freezing rain, stay inside. Everything will get covered in ice. The streets and sidewalks will be slippery. Sometimes ice falls from the clouds. We call it snow. Snow starts to form inside a cloud. A cloud is made up of tiny drops of water. Sometimes the drops of water freeze into ice crystals. Then they fall through the sky as snowflakes. You can do a lot of things with ice. You can skate on it, eat it, build with it, or even slide down it. It can be a lot of fun when water freezes.
Have you ever seen frozen ice? Let's check it
What
out.
is something that happens when water freezes? Talk about it.
Do you know what happens when water freezes? It turns into ice. So it says, uh-oh, the duck is slipping. It landed on a frozen pond. Why do you think the pond turned to ice? Now, real quick, if ever you see water that is frozen, you should never, ever, ever walk on it or step on it. You should wait and ask an adult because you never know how frozen it really is, and it could be very dangerous. So let's look at our weekly reader. Let's Find Out magazine. Ice is frozen water. Ice is cold. Have you ever felt an ice cube? Have you ever held one? Now, when we describe something, we are talking about their properties. So one of the properties of ice is that it's cold. Another property of ice is that it's hard. Ice is hard. This bike is stuck. in ice. I don't think you'd be riding that bike. Ice is slippery. So another property of ice is that it's cold, it's hard, it's very slippery. You can skate on ice. Ice is fun. Now that's not a property, but it is something that is the author's opinion. They think that ice is fun. And you might think that ice or snow is fun too. Remember, snow is a kind of ice. And this last, ice can melt. The snow melts back into water. Do you remember the magic temperature? 32 degrees, and it will freeze. Water will freeze into ice. But if it's anything warmer, it melts. Let's take a wiggle break. Stand up and move.
Dance break.
Let's do a snowman dance. Wave your stick arms. Shiver. Shiver up and shiver down. Now bounce around. Good work.
Freeze. Now take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, and let it out. 3, 2, 1. Now melt to the ground.
So, if you like learning about science and ice and you want to do a little bit more, I have a challenge for you. Check this out. You can do an ice melting test. You can get a couple bags or even put your ice in a bowl and you can see what causes ice to melt the fastest. You can tape your bag into a sunny window or set it outside in the sunshine. You could set it on a shelf. You could put it in the freezer or the refrigerator. And you could even sprinkle salt on it. And you decide which way causes your ice to melt the fastest. If you do, make sure you take some pictures or even a video telling us what you did and upload it to Seesaw. Remember, this is optional, but it's always fun to learn a little bit more about science. I hope you guys had fun learning about ice, and I will see you soon. Bye.